Let's go. Okay. So, via Zoom rather than Instagram Live, I'm here with the beautiful Sarah, and she is one of my favorite people in all of the world.
Aw.
She she's a new mom. She is recently married, celebrated second year of marriage.
First.
First year. Okay, all right. So, Sarah and I, we kind of go way back. She knew me when I was a baby Catholic. And so I really look up to all of the things, Sarah. So, welcome. Welcome to Tuesday Talks. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I'm telling you, anytime you get me going with technology, something bad happens. I don't
Seriously, not
know.
everybody has
Wow.
the gift. It's okay. It's okay. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like you said, recently married. We celebrated our first year last October, and then she was born in November. so things have been happening very, very quickly in the Guerra household, and I'm just trying to get my feet on solid ground for 1 minute, and then of course COVID comes, and no, that's not gonna happen. So that's
Right.
that's where I am right now.
What have you been doing to kind of keep yourself mentally healthy and sane in these uncertain and unprecedented times?
Unprecedented. I'm starting to really hate that word.
I was thinking the same thing. I am so sick of people saying, "Oh, the new normal," and this is unprecedented. I'm like, nah.
We get it. Let's
Right.
move on.
So what are you doing?
I am getting my news once a day and not before bed so that I can sleep. And I am, hunkered down in the house. My husband is an essential worker. He helps to make sure that your price shoppers are stocked. And I've been working from home. Working for the diocese has been really great, and they've been able to hook us up at home. And so we're still doing our thing. And I've just been trying to get out to walk and get in nature. I find that when I am in the house for as long as we've been and not able to get out and get some fresh air, that's when I start to get a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that and trying to sing as much as I can. The Psalms are very calming to me, and just really trying to live in the moment, because it's so hard because so many people are hurting because of this. But for me, it's a blessing to be able to work from home and get to see her grow. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this. So it's a mixed bag for me.
So you mentioned that your husband, he's an essential worker, and I know that he has family, in other countries. So how is that affecting their build? I know that was kind of like an off the cuff question, but is he doing okay with his family and things?
Affecting their what?
Their communication,
Oh, so that really hasn't changed. We always do like Facebook chats with them, and they've been keeping us updated. I think it's harder on them being in Peru and seeing the news here and knowing that, New York is such a hot spot. It's making them worry more than we are worried.
That kind of goes back to a lot of times people think that when they hear New York, it's New York City. But there's a whole other state.
Yeah. And they know, but they do keep up to date with what the governor is having us do. And honestly, in some ways it's more strict in Peru right now than it is in New York, and in other ways we're more strict than they are. So just how different governments are handling it is kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah. So in your introduction, you mentioned, and it was something that I hadn't put in the introduction myself, but you said you work for the diocese. So explain a little bit about what you do and who you work with, and how you are a puzzle piece there.
Sure. A puzzle piece, that is a good word for it. I feel like I am a professional multitasker because I work for the Office of Prayer and Worship, and that's with Father Barrett. And then I also work with the Office of Vicar for Vocations, which is Father Anthony Legato for seminarians, and Deacon Paul Kisselbeck with the permanent deacon candidates. So men who are studying to become permanent deacons. So it's a lot on my plate, and so I'm the administrative assistant for both offices.
Beautiful. How do you I admire you in ways because you are I just feel like you're perpetually surrounded by these holy men, and they're all legit. I mean, I know we have, like, you know, in the news there's, like, you know, some of the bad, you know, religious men, and they've made some bad choices, but everybody who I've seen you interact with and come in contact with, like, you are like in the facets, the little cogs of how the diocese gets these holy men to the next step of their life, and especially in prayer and worship. You know, that's a big deal. And Father Anthony Barrett is amazing. He's great, and as is Father Legato. Like, they are just some of the most amazing holy men that our diocese has. I love them to pieces. You must feel so honored to be able to work along some of these guys.
Truly. I mean, I'm gonna get a little teary-eyed, but I landed my dream job, and even before Father Barrett, when Elizabeth Simcoe was the director for prayer and worship too. I mean, she is an amazing person, and now being able to have her as my parish life director at church, I still get to, you know, be in contact with her. Yeah, it's so humbling, and I'm just so happy there. So happy, and so I feel so supported where I didn't before.
Yeah,
I feel very supported. So much so that Father Legato is Eliza's godfather.
What? Congratulations!
Yeah. Now we just have to actually get to do the baptism.
Baptism's going to be looking really different. So we're going to have to see how that works out, but still a sacrament worth celebrating. You know, it's very beautiful. So So okay, I want to talk a little bit about your vocalizations, because that was something that I was not aware of when our friendship started and it was blossoming. I know you like to bake, and, you know, we were talking about, you know, the opportunity to open, you know, like some kind of a diner or a bake shop or something like that. And so I thought that's where you were going. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, well, I was like, let's go do this restaurant business, you know? But come to find out, you sing like an angel. I get teary-eyed, talk about, you know, getting emotional, but when I hear you sing, I mean, at the Concert for Vocations, and just like because you sing for funerals and things like that. Wow, Sarah. Wow. Tell me a little bit about your vocation.
So I started when I was 16, and it actually started on my confirmation. That was the first time that I ever canted a psalm in front of everybody, you know. It wasn't just some Sunday mass, it was at my confirmation. And I felt at peace with it. You know, I grew up in a very musical family. My mother was the director of music at our parish, and, Dad played the guitar, and we were all part of the choir. So I grew up in it, and that's how we participated in the liturgy. That's what kind of kept us, I think, going to Mass. We didn't have too much of the, no, Mom, I don't want to go to Mass, because we had something to do. We had a purpose there. So if I was 16, that was, close to 20 years ago now, that I've been canting. Did you drop that? Did you see how she looked at me? Hang on. Oh,
she is a showstopper.
She really is. So close to 20 years now, canting. Yeah. And I sing for weddings and funerals, and I love it. And any other like diocesan events I've done, and back in the Ogdensburg diocese too, I did a couple of radio masses and ordinations, and it brings me a lot of joy.
Do you have a favorite song or a favorite hymn that you just, you really love to pray that when you're singing?
Can I think of it now? No. There is one that I'm like, every time I get to sing this psalm, I am so excited, but I can't think of it right now. What is it? I sang it at the last spring enrichment prayer of remembrance that we did before spring enrichment was more.
Yeah. One of the things that
so it's to the effect of with God I have all I need, and I can't think of the psalm, but that's the gist of it. With God, I have all I need.
Yeah. I have enough vocal talent to sing my daughter to sleep, and she enjoys when I sing to her, and that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. And so one of my favorite hymns, it's called Hosea, right? And so it's just pretty much kind of saying like it's kind of calling us back to the Lord. He's like, hey, I'm here. Come back to me. I want to draw you back to myself. And that always makes me very tearful. Like I almost can never get through all of the verses without being like,
yeah. I will find the correct title and the composer, and I'll stick it in the comments.
Yeah, in the comments. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to chat with you about is, outside of just vocalization, right? You have entered into the vocation of family life. So vocation of motherhood, but prior to that, vocation of being a wife. And because everything has happened so quickly in your beautiful vocation, could you just talk a little bit about the connectivity that you have with your husband and that story a little bit, and maybe how you guys have kind of moved in to the next phase of your relationship?
Okay, there's a lot there. We met 5 years to the day that Eliza was born. So that was something really, really special in our life, and we had an immediate connection over the Catholic faith, and I think that's what propelled us forward. Because he was super shy when I met him. Like, he barely said a word, and I'm quite talkative with you right now because I know you, but if I don't know you, I'm not quite so talkative.
Right.
So both of us being kind of quiet, it was a little bit of a something that we had to work through. And yeah, it was our Catholic faith that really brought us together, and we started going to mass together, and it bloomed from there. When we were married, we planned the whole thing together. And I think that really brought us a sense of, what the sacrament is all about. And we were able to reflect on all of that as we were planning it. And that was definitely a blessing. And then, the story. I won't get all the way into it, but we weren't sure that I was going to be able to conceive for one reason or another. So we thought if we were able to have a child, it would be years down the road. And I was already, I'm 34 now. So we're kind of preparing ourselves for the possibility that we might not have children, that we would have to look into adoption, which I was, gung-ho for. But that was something that we would definitely have to pray and talk a lot more about. So when we found out that we were pregnant, it was just, it was a godsend. If there is any, doubt in the world that she wasn't supposed to be here, that, totally negated it, just because we were so convinced that it would be years, if ever, we would have a child.
Yeah.
So she's definitely a blessing in our lives, but I am trying to remind myself not to let that get to her head, so she grows up normal, you are my precious, you are my, you are a princess, you're, we don't want to go down that road, but
right,
it definitely is a blessing in our lives.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I look to you for, and you might be surprised to know this, and I seem to always do this whenever I have these chats with my favorite people. I say something and they're like, I didn't know that. So here's my you didn't know that moment. But you inspire me on a very regular basis. And the reason that I chose to kind of, I guess, share you with everybody else in my life is that you have such a way with your living out of your faith. You are a woman of God, and it shows. And it's not because you're like, look at me, I'm super religious, look at me, it's how you love others and how you serve others and how you love and serve directly where you're planted at any one time. You love and serve your husband. You love and serve your parents. Oh, goodness gracious. I wish I could be the kind of daughter to my parents the way that you are to your parents. You're just amazing. You love and serve your brother. You just, I don't know. I'm in awe of you. And so you encourage me just by, it sounds weird, but just by existing. You are a light of wisdom, and you are living your motherhood. And it's such a beautiful reminder to me to slow down and to take a pause in my own life, not just in the pandemic, but, with Olivia. Somebody had said to me recently, so I'm so up in arms about trying to reach all of the kids that I work for in this parish, and reach out to the families. And somebody said, hey, slow down a minute. Like, maybe this is the time that you're supposed to be ministering to your daughter. Like, maybe this is the time that you should be using your youth ministry gifts for Olivia. And you're too busy being caught up in like, oh, this person and this person and this person. It's like, no, this is the time that you need to be a youth minister for Liv. And I was like, oh, hold on one second. Let me grow where I'm planted. And you inspire me to do that because you have bloomed so beautifully, Sarah. in just the places that you have been planted. And I thank you. You're just this amazing person. So thank you.
you, Rebecca. Well, I've told you this before, but everybody doesn't know that your family is one that I look to for what's the right word? You are the role models for us. Like, I look at you and Otto and I'm like, I want to have a marriage like that. I look at you and Olivia and I want to have a mother-daughter relationship like that. And I'm getting teary again.
So we're like co-role models for each other. This is great.
Yeah,
this is good. That means we're doing the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for this time. I know that it didn't really turn out, as far as technology goes, the way that initially it's supposed to go. But you know what? That's how God works. He's like, oh, you have this plan? 1 second. Let me do something else. So I appreciate your heart and your openness to share this time with me, and so that I can share you and your family with others, that they can be encouraged.
Sure, and I'll leave you with this one thought, and that is that no family is perfect, no pregnancy is perfect. That God will give you the strength to get through whatever, because I tell you, she may have been a godsend, but the process of pregnancy and having her was awful. Awful. And I had to really rely on the grace of God to get through it, and praying to Mother Mary a lot during the process. And I will leave a link to the book that I read during the process as well, that gave reflections on each week of pregnancy and different faith actions that you could do, different prayers that you could do during each week. So that really helped me to get through it.
That's going to be a beautiful blessing for mothers that are going to see this. I know a few expecting women in this time, and I think that's going to be a beautiful sharing of our faith and how to get through these trying times.
Yes, it'll definitely be a good resource for you. So I will share that. Thank
Wonderful.
you for having me on. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. And I am really grateful for you. And just thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Bye, Sarah.
Bye.